This is Energetic Eats, brought to you by the Fort St. John Co-op. You're at home here.
All right. Well, I'm very excited for this guest for a couple of reasons. The first one is that you're the first person to be live in the studio with me, other than the co-host, in some time. It's Bess Lego from the Fort St. John Farmers Market. How's it going today, Bess? I'm doing very well, thank you. I've got the wrong microphone on here. Let's try that again. there you are. Well, that's
you can
good.
Hear me now?
I got the big mistake out of the way first off to start us off. We thought we'd have you on today to talk a bit about the AGM coming up for the Fort St. John Farmers Market in just a few weeks now, because of course May. You're going to start opening the farmers market again. It's right around the corner. It's
literally around
fast,
the corner. Yeah.
So for people who don't know, first of all, when we've had you, I believe, on before on Energetic Eats to talk about the farmers market, we've had a lot of the vendors who go to the farmers market on this little segment. What do you guys kind of do? What's your mission at the farmers market? As it relates to food sustainability and all that kind of good stuff?
That's a really great question. Whether it's a direct mission or one that I hold to my heart and a lot of the local vendors and local food producers in the region do, is that we want to make accessible local quality food and make sure that we have some regional food security, even if it's just for a short period of time over the season. What's really nice is being down with and partnering with the city and being down at the Festival Plaza is that we're able to have an indoor and outdoor space to really make sure that we have a comfortable space for a diversity of vendors to pop up and provide their local food offerings and artisan products to our local community.
Yeah, I mean, you guys just moved to the Festival Plaza for the first time last year, since it kind of just opened. It was awesome going to the farmers markets down there. You had lots of space, got to see lots of different people. Any big changes coming up kind of this year? Anything going to be different that you're foreseeing in the month and a half we still have to go to kind of the first one?
Yeah, for sure. Well, we're navigating some of the restrictions being lifted over COVID, and so I've been in touch with the city of Fort St. John and kind of looking at what that kind of looks like for us as a market. We had some restrictions early in the year last year where only food vendors could be inside the building. And so what's nice is with those liftings, we're going to be able to diversify that. We're also expecting to be able to have more tables within the actual indoor part of the plaza for our fringe season when, we still we're in the north, so we still have lots of cold weather and wind, which tends to be the challenge that most of our outdoor vendors have throughout the season. And so looking at having more vendors pop up, what's been really nice is just this past year, we've seen an increase in our membership and a larger selection of direct market meat producers and vegetable producers and folks who are investing in commercial kitchens on their farms so that they can make things like salad dressings and ready-made meals and that type of thing, so that we can really amp up what local food is available to our community.
What are you hearing from your members about kind of the year ahead? Because of course I've noted a few times on this show and whatnot, the prices in stores now, you're not really paying a premium anymore for local products like you may have been in the past. It's amazing to see how things have sort of evened out. Do you think are people who are vendors at this saying, I might have a really big year because people know buying local, you're going to get local stuff and not pay a premium on it anymore because of the price of food right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the pandemic and some supply chain disruptions, whether they were perceived or real, ended up really making people think about, well, where's their food going to come from next week? And so with the prices of increasing in grocery stores, you're correct. They end up coming a little bit more on par. As a vegetable producer, I always tried to make sure that my pricing was in line with grocery store or less than. And that has to do with the scale of production as well. So if you're a small market gardener and you're out there by hand and you're bringing in 5 people to come and help you harvest those greens at 4 o'clock in the morning to make sure they're fresh as possible for market, because we're crazy enough at Hip Piece that's what we do, what ends up happening is the cost of doing that and paying Canadians to and not mechanizing, it does end up, it's difficult to make a profit when you're doing that to provide. And so I think folks are tuning into their cost of production and then also just working on things like no-till development, so we're not having to weed constantly, using mulches and that type of thing, so we reduce our labor so that we can actually make sure that we continue to bring really nutrient-dense quality food at a price that everybody can afford. And then with the increase of pricing in the grocery store, that's really leveling things out. So I'd like to say that we might sell a head of cauliflower for $5. We go to the grocery store, it only says it's, $3 a pound, but it's a 2-pound cauliflower. So it's actually more expensive. It's just not the way it's marketed. And so there is that price discrepancy, I guess. And so we're really looking forward to the fact that we're going to become more competitive with grocery stores. Along with that, there's a number of local producers that are trying to figure out the hoops to be able to meet local demand at grocery stores. So that, and there's a bunch of local stores that are opening up. And so folks not only who've been fostered and supported by the farmers market for years are actually looking beyond the farmers market so that we can really, really make sure that folks can not just hit the event on a Saturday, but all week long, the same producers that you know their faces, you know their families, you can find their products in a number of stores in the community as well, which is really nice.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk a bit about the AGM coming up in a couple weeks. You're on the board, of course, I believe the president.
Yeah.
And you kind of have an election once a year. That's important because, of course, you need to organize each of the Fort St. John farmers markets, get all the vendors kind of collected, all that good stuff. Why should people who maybe, are looking for something to volunteer their time to, or are interested in the Fort St. John Farmers Market or thinking about how they can maybe be a bigger part of it, why should they come to this AGM? What's important about it? What's going to happen at it?
Well, that's a great question. Well, first and foremost, it's been a long winter, and I every year look forward to reconnecting with folks from all the variety of vendors from the market, new interested vendors who might want to learn what the market's all about and how we operate, what our philosophies are, and meet the other players who are lending their time and making sure that the market is a success. So not only is it a nice opportunity to connect, it is the one time a year that we have all our information. You can get your market membership. We provide it at a discount if you show up to the AGM as an incentive for folks to come and connect and kind of start off the year on the right foot. And then we have a series of board positions that I'm a big advocate of volunteering. I sit on a number of boards in our community, and I've been fostered through my ability and my skills as being a board member. And so I really encourage folks who are interested in participating in our democracy, because I think diverse voices at a table are really important. And it really is the way you have democracy in action, because all those voices can come together and we can help form from our different perspectives how we should operate our organizations in this community. And so not only is there an opportunity to volunteer and spend a little bit of time to make sure that the market thrives and does a really good job and meets the needs of our vendors and community, but also you can develop those skills so that you can actually be an active participant and have the confidence to have a voice, so that if you want to see something changed, that we are able to have those conversations at a small table, and then the ripple effect of that in the community is usually pretty impactful.
Wow, fascinating. All right. Well, again, we talked a bit about the AGM. You said vendors who are maybe interested, who want to be a part of it, can go to that and attend as well. If you're one of these people who's maybe interested, who doesn't know, okay, what's involved, what's my commitment, all that kind of stuff, or you want to be a vendor, I don't know what's involved. What's the best way to reach out to find out that information and maybe even get the process rolling if they maybe want to have a table at the farmers market this summer?
Yeah, I've actually been receiving quite a few calls already, and usually we have a market manager in place. Margie Unra has been doing an amazing job for a number of years. Word on the street is that we have a few board members that are a little bit tired. They've been taxed with the amount of extra work trying to navigate COVID over the last couple of years, and really just making sure that we focus on our families and ourselves to make sure that we're all happy and, and taking care of things. And so we are looking at having a little bit of a board shift this year, which is why we really appreciate the support here at the Moose and Airjack City to get the word out over the last little bit. And anybody who has any questions, we've got copies of the roles and responsibilities for each of the board positions. I do believe we will be looking for a market manager, an assistant market manager, a treasurer, a secretary, and our advertising committee. And all of those positions are going to be mentored by the predecessors, And then we work together to make sure that we can organize and make sure that the market comes off without any glitches every week. One of the really exciting things about COVID restrictions being lifted is that we're going to be able to have events again. And so there's the opportunity, if you'd like to see some community coming together, our advertising committee is an opportunity to kind of share your perspective and actually put on events once a month, because that's one of the ways that the Farmers Market likes to give back to the community. We definitely support advertisers in the community and try and get the word out that way, but we also we take a portion of our table sales and we commit it to supporting the community through putting on events and making sure that folks are supported when they come out to the market. So, for example, on Mother's Day, we're known for giving out carnations or some sort of tulip or flower, just as a way to celebrate moms in our community. We do a similar thing for Father's Day. We always have a Customer Appreciation Day in July. And then August, we're kind of known for our corn roast, which where the local Hutterites, they actually they make sure that everybody gets a taste of their fresh corn. We usually try and bring in some sort of chef so we can have some herb butters and highlight some other vendors and some other local products. And this year, it's kind of top news, but I was just reaching out with the manager at Mighty Peace and thinking about trying to collaborate and even have maybe a beer garden along with our corn roast and bring in some live music and really looking into leaning into our community and bringing folks together so that we can actually have some of those celebrations that we've been missing for the last couple of years.
Oh man, that sounds wonderful. All right, so again, the best way to reach out to you for more information. Oh, by the way, do you need to register ahead of time to go to the AGM? Or
No,
is it just...
because we've decided to support the seniors hall, and so we made sure that we rented a nice large space. We're going to have our tables, our chairs spaced out so that everybody is comfortable, no matter where they are. And it's a transition out of the pandemic, so we want to make sure everybody feels comfortable. And so there is no limitation on how many people can join the AGM. Okay. And so we're doing it in person, and we're not asking for pre-registration. Of course, if you are interested in putting your name forward for the elections that are happening, it's nice to know that in advance, or at least come prepared with somebody that can nominate you, and then that way we can have a real active election at the AGM this year.
All right, and I think the email you gave me earlier, bestlego@gmail.com, if we have questions or if you're interested in being the board. Okay, that'll also be in the Facebook post if you happen to be watching the video, or if you're listening on the radio, you can check that out after. Of course, you can follow the Fort St. John Farmers Market on Facebook for all the updates as well. That date coming up April 9th, 1 to 4 p.m. at the Seniors Hall for the AGM. And of course, Farmers Market's coming up in May at Festival Plaza.
Spring is in the air. We're all excited.
Bess, thank you so much for coming by and being my first live guest back in the studio once again.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks so much.
All right, Energetic Eats is brought to you by the Fort St. John Co-op.